already did. Washington is up for a bid, and again, several interested partners, including Tillman Fertitta with the city of Houston wanting to keep it Washington, but he wanted to put a bunch of money into it. But they are going to go with the John Harris, who's partly a part of a group with the Philadelphia 76ers, and also, I think, a hockey franchise as well. And this is a franchise that Daniel Snyder ran into the freaking ground like a ship ramming the boat dock. And look how much money he's going to make after he bought it for $750 million.
Yeah, that's what's great about America. You can buy a franchise, not win anything, create multiple sexual harassment lawsuits across your organization, and, really, sully a franchise that was previously great. Have a fan base completely turn on you in a tri-state area that's a very large part of this country. And at the end of the day, you know what? Mother Fortune still smiles on you as you make a 700% profit on what you did.
He's a businessman, and he got into it because he had money. He bought a franchise. Craig, now over $6 billion, the largest number ever bought as far as a pro franchise. And, I mean, I'm a lifelong Washington fan. I know you are, even though it's been very, very shaky in the last several years. But they need some good news, and maybe this is the start of things to come.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe. Or maybe they're just a cursed franchise in general. I don't know, but the majority of their curse has revolved around the Daniel Snyder ownership era. So, yeah, I mean, it's a new day. The sun is out, and temps are good, and I think emotions are high in D.C. right now for this change and for this turnover in leadership of the franchise to just anybody not named Dan Snyder. Thought it could be Jeff Bezos, but he didn't even end up bidding, so they go with this offer here, and, yeah, it's record-breaking, and I don't know. I'm on the one hand thankful. I'm glad that this long saga is basically over now as far as will he, won't he, when will he, who will he sell to. I'm glad that that's all now been settled. I think it said in the tweet that Magic Johnson's also part of this group, so that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They had a lot of different kind of rock star avenues they could have gone down as far as just notable people who had an opportunity to try and get in on this. And I mentioned, Bezos and, Magic obviously was one of those. You had Tillman Fertitta, as you mentioned, and others. But, yeah, I mean, it's a little bit bittersweet because the guy does make, over $5 billion profit. That's pretty ridiculous and pretty disgusting, just all the way around. I'm not even sure how, other than just they survived and were around and they had history prior to him of why they went up that much, because their stadium sucks. They're no good. They haven't won anything of note, so I don't know what.
The NFL made him richer.
I guess the NFL, you're right. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like he was doing this. It was just a byproduct of being in the right place at the right time and having ownership. So for that foresight, if that was what his plan was all along, then, good on him. He's a rich billionaire businessman for a reason. I did find it, though, just absolutely loathsome to see a guy who works for a network, a network that talks politics all day long, and he was basically celebrating this, and going aha to the people who, I don't even want to mention his name because he's an absolute nobody. I didn't even know his name until today. He's got, he's way more popular than I'll ever be, but he's on one of those talking networks, and he was he had a tweet that was for all the, I bet Daniel Snyder, what he's telling all those people who hate him is, I turned several million into $6 billion. I'm like, are we really licking the boots of Dan Snyder? Is that what people are doing to get attention on social media now? How freaking pathetic and what loser BS.
Do you know who's miserable? Dan Snyder, because he wants to keep being
God
the owner.
Almighty, I get social media is toxic and a poison, but we got people out here celebrating Dan Snyder making billions of dollars. You are so gross as a human being. I wish nothing but bad karma on you. I don't care if it was for likes or not. It's just so low level disgusting. So, there will be those troll type people who celebrate that for whatever reason. Like, the guy wasn't like sexually harassing multiple people and making several young women feel uncomfortable and scarring them for life. But hey, he made a bunch of money, so let's celebrate him. But that's America, right? And I'm not trying to go on a tangent, but I saw that and I was just like, how gross. Yeah. So I'm glad that Daniel Snyder is no longer the owner. Good for him on making the money, and if we never hear about him again, I'll be A-okay with that.
Jack Kent Cooke, Paul, bought the Redskins back in 1960. He also was the owner of the Lakers, and he was Joe Gibbs. Just could not say enough about how much he loved Jack Kent Cooke. He moved Toronto. He moved to the United States in 1960. A year later, paid $350,000 for a minority stake in the Washington franchise. He eventually sold it, of course, and Daniel Snyder eventually takes it over. He's a Washington fan. He ran it into the dirt. They've had very little success. If they've had success, it has not lasted more than a year. And thank God when he's gone. Washington now, hopefully with Magic Johnson and company, not that everything he touches turns to gold, but hopefully this turns him into a legitimate, well-run, well-oiled machine, and they actually can start winning football games again.
I mean, look, Magic Johnson's I mean, he is. He's a good, like, when it comes to financial things, it's a good guy to have. He's an enthusiastic fundraiser, and he can help you make money. But, Soki, you kind of hit the nail on the head about this. Look, this might be the first time, and probably like the first time, but this is one of those times where a guy's made a 700% profit, but he didn't want to. If Dan Snyder had his way,
had money.
Yeah, if $6 billion to Dan Snyder, that's all well and good.
That's a little bit of money,
but it's all well and good. But if he had his way, if he lined it up his way, he would be like in his little dream fantasy. Washington's winning a bunch of Super Bowls. They never had to change the name. Everybody loves Dan Snyder, and he's the most beloved owner in sports.
Yes,
that's what he wanted. He bought that franchise because they were his childhood favorite team.
Yep.
This wasn't someone like, and that happens sometimes, but this wasn't someone who happened upon a franchise because they had money and, you know, they did it like they for somewhere else and somebody said, hey, you want to buy a franchise? This one's up for bid, like Walmart and the Broncos. You know, like not like that. This is a dude who grew up worshiping this team, was insanely wealthy, became more wealthy from owning it and all the other things he did, but he didn't want to do this. The league essentially got to the point where they're like, hey, buddy, you gotta go.
Yeah, it was a matter of time. It really was.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, I mean, what's $6 billion when you've already got what you've got? I mean, like, what's he going to be able to, like, buy a franchise now? I mean, oh, wait, he already did that. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's transformational, generational money. I think that they already kind of had that, but this is like obviously another level when you're talking billions of dollars. So yeah, that was a W, no doubt about it. But yeah, I think Paul's got a point as well, is you're not going out exactly how though you thought you were going to go out. You're not going out with a Lombardi trophy. You're not the hero of, you know, the Commanders fan base. If anything, you're a pariah. You're somebody that they want to see very little of, if any of, moving forward, and everybody's rejoicing that you're no longer at the helm. So, yeah, I mean, you got to live your dream in some ways, but you also are going out very rich, but with, you know, a bad mark left on what was supposed to be this dream scenario for you. So I guess in that way
he wants to be the owner. He wants to be the owner.
Yeah, in that way he didn't win everything, and so there's a little saving grace in that.
Paula made this comment: Snyder better set aside a big chunk of that money for legal fees. Those sexual harassment lawsuits are going to start piling on even more right now. Let's see here. There's a couple of the notes. Washington Commander, somebody was out. Kim Coulter just joined us and said, where are we on the show? We were mentioning Daniel Snyder. That's a sale that's going to be close over $6 billion, the most ever for a franchise. So you can imagine he never will. The family will own the Cowboys forever until all of them are gone. But imagine what value they would be with Jerry Jones, and well over that number. All right, so